Yo, what's up, all you stupid leftists out there? Sorry that I'd attack you that way, but Jesus Christ, what do you expect us to do when the world is going to shit at your hands? John and Dan knows what time it is. Yeah, they're gonna touch on some of this and compare a lot of these Democrats to Nazis, fascists, and Marxists. That's exactly what they are. I find it very, very crazy that that this Antifa calls themselves anti-fascist. They go around punching people in the face they disagree with. That is the definition of fascism. It's insane. You can't make any of this stuff up. So anyways, John and Dan, take it from here. Emery King, and I'm out.
Alright, we're going to start this off with a fun fact. Did you know Hitler gave everyone a free radio, and then he nationalized the radio and warned those citizens if they listened to anything other than Nazi radio, they would be put to death? Does that sound familiar? I mean, I know we're not putting people to death, but we're pulling their voice. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, pulling their voice.
Yeah, it's use the Patriot Act too as well. A lot of the different tenets involved in that. Bush started
as if there's some kind of
have been expanded upon.
Well,
you know,
virtue
that's one of the first things that Obama did when he got in office, because it takes no effort to get rid of that. To get on camera on it.
Use
and
it
say
for
that
his
you
own
support
goals.
something.
I mean,
You can look at Trump.
Trumpgate.
You're
There's
about
all
it. Stuff going on right
Doesn't
now.
mean you're going to do anything.
Russiagate and all the
actually.
dossier and all that kind of stuff.
It really get
Spygate,
involved
you know,
and put skin in the game,
on,
but
the current
by God,
president,
you can let the world know that,
guarantee
you know what I
that
mean,
there's
you're virtue signaling everybody. Jump on Facebook and make that post, and you've done your good deed for the day. To hell with charity and doing volunteer work and all those kind of things like that and helping people out. You know what I mean? Like, let's just make a tweet, man. Change the world, you know, and then go right back to whatever the hell else I was doing that was useless.
Yeah,
That's
like
pretty much
calling everybody a
sums up
racist or a Nazi.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they do throw those words around a lot. They throw around racist, they throw around Nazi, whether or not it's true or not. They just do it to do it.
Ist and isms.
Yeah.
You got to throw the ist and isms at them. You know what I mean? It shuts speech down. You know, I mean, you look at Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals, and you look at a lot of the reason why, in my opinion, Democrats or the left, if you will. I don't really like to use the term Democrats because you got a lot
They're
of
not
Republicans.
Democrats no more.
You got a lot of Republicans that are the same damn thing, rhinos or whatever you want to call them, but they're big government. You know what I mean? They're not about, you know, they wrap themselves in the flag is the only difference between a lot of the Republican politicians and the Democrat politicians. Democrat politicians just straight out say they hate America and we support whoever the hell, the islands of Micronesia, you know what I mean? Like, are more just than, you know, America and all this other kind of shit. They'll bash the country all day long on TV, whereas a Republican is going to, you know, obviously play to his base, but when those bills come out, you know damn well they're going to try to put some pork and try to shove some of their social programs or whatever the hell else that is that they want to throw in there and try to get money back for from, you know, their donors and stuff. But yeah, I think the biggest problem right now with Democrats versus Republicans in general, from a political standpoint, and I would even say from a populist standpoint too. When you're talking to a Democrat, and you have a Democrat and you have a Republican, and they're sitting there arguing, right? And a lot of times you'll have the Republican who will be somewhat well versed. I mean, obviously there's this, you know, there's obviously exceptions to this. If you go out in the country and you're talking to some dumb redneck dude who's just don't know a damn thing, you know what I mean? Like the typical stereotype that CNN likes to go for. But for the most part, the general Republicans that I know, especially people that are well off and have good jobs, you know what I mean, and are more middle upper class people that are, you know, work their ass off, have degrees and educations and stuff, they're typically going to try to come at somebody with some facts. Okay, here's what's going on, blah 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 blah. Whereas the Democrat's going to win the argument, not with facts. What he's going to do is he's going to call the other person names.
Yeah, he's going to call them a Nazi.
But here's what this does, though. If you think about it, you have one guy spitting some gibberish. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, 917 people out of 1,000, blah blah blah, droning away. Then this other dude comes on the other side, and then he's super charismatic, and he's like, "You're a damn Nazi." And, you know, while I'm at it, you know, you hate gay people. And then this, and this. Now, the common person that's listening to this argument is like, okay, yeah, this dude said some stuff, but oh my God, I don't think I can listen to this guy because he's a Nazi. I can't
hate
listen to Nazis. I hate Nazis. So I don't want to listen to anything that this guy has to say, because this dude just literally put up a mental barrier by calling him a bunch of names. Well, it's like, well, I have a gay cousin, and my gay cousin's awesome, you know. Darren's a really good guy, you know what I mean? And like, so,
and this Nazi wants to get rid of him.
The hell with this Nazi over here, and whatever the hell he's talking about. Meanwhile, this dude, like, literally is like third generation, like World War II, you know what I mean? His grandfather jumped in on D-Day killing Nazis and stuff like that, or died in World War II. Like, you literally have situations like, but this side wins because they're they're louder, you know what I mean? And no one wants to listen to the dude who's potentially a Nazi or a homophobe or a xenophobe or whatever the hell else you want to, you know, istanism you want to use in order, you know, to label somebody, you know what I mean?
No matter how many times a Democrat tries to call a Republican a Nazi or a socialist, same thing, it has, and it won't ever make any sense. It, like, will never. Like, the Nazi stands for National Socialist German Workers' Party, and Democratic Socialism and National Socialist German Workers' Party, it's pretty much the exact same thing. So,
like, well, look, fascism and socialism are basically essentially slur words for different forms of Marxism, right? It's just different branches of Marxism. If you read the Communist Manifesto, read what Karl Marx and Peter Engels put down, you read the 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto, like, and we've already, in America, we've already been diving into this since the early 1900s. We've already gotten this started, the Federal Reserve Act and all that kind of stuff, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. I mean, we've gone way down the Marxist road. Not communism, not socialism, not fascism, Marxism. According to the Communist Manifesto, which is Marxism, right? You got like the abolition of private property and land. We don't have that done yet, obviously, but they've been trying to do that forever. Heavy progressive or graduated income tax. Check the box on that. That's done. Confiscation of property of all immigrants and rebels. Let's see here. Centralization of credit in the hands of the state by means of a national bank with state capital and exclusive monopoly. Oh, that's we have that. That's a Federal Reserve. Damn near every country has one of those. That's weird. Okay, yeah, we're a really big republic when we have that. You know what I mean? Like, we're not. You know, centralization of the means of communication and transportation in the hands of the state. FCC. You know what I mean? Like, you look at a lot of these different things. Like, you know, it's whether you believe that these different branches of the government and stuff are needed or not, doesn't matter. That's not the point. You know what I mean? Like, I think that we actually, you know, my personal belief is we need a lot of these different things. But when you look at it just from the black and white, you know, issue of, is this a tenet of Marxism? Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's intertwined. So the point is that you're moving that wheel towards that direction with every single thing that you add, or you know what I'm saying? Like, equal obligation of all to work, establishment of, you know what I'm saying? Like industrial armies, AK unions and things like that.
Right. Employment for all.
Yep. Combination of agriculture with manufacturing industries.
Our education system.
Free education for all children in government schools. I mean, that was
it's
obviously
all public, state funded.
That was always one of the first ones. You look at, like, you know, the Frankfurt Institute and their different, you know, the different things that, you know, teach the economic history of America and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I mean, we've already dived way down this in the country as a whole. You know what I'm saying? And once these things are intertwined, they're damn near impossible to go away.
Right.
Like, go right now and try to tell you you're going to abolish Social Security. See how that works out for you.
Yeah, it's not going to go over.
It's not going to go over at all. You know what I mean? Like, because people are dependent on that money now, and that is the whole point. You get people dependent on the money, and then they especially over generations. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what they have.
As people get upset, you just play the blame game. It's all the 1%'s fault. It's all the social issues are the white male's fault. You play the blame game.
Well, and if we circle back to what we were talking about with, you know, like fascism, socialism, you know, you look at like the modern media today says that Nazis are far right extremists, right?
Right.
And a lot of that is due to, on the surface, of the nationalistic approach of the Nazi Party in particular, and with Hitler, right? Mussolini, to a certain extent, too, as well, was doing the same thing. But when you look at both forms of fascism, right? You look at both from Mussolini and Hitler standpoints, right? From their different diaries and stuff that they've had published and stuff, they were heavily influenced by Darwinism,
right,
and Marxist ideology.
Yep.
Okay, heavily, and essentially it's the same damn thing. It's a totalitarian, statist, regimes, basically, where terror, violence, propaganda are all heavily infused, right? The only real difference is socialism is based on humanist studies, whereas fascism is based on natural sciences and Darwinism. Okay, so the socialism side is more based off of Marxism, whereas fascism is more based off of natural science and Darwinism. That's why you have race is such a big pillar, you know what I mean, in the Nazi ideology or the Marxist or the ideology of the Nazi Party,
right.
Because it's only the strong survive, right? That's what he was doing. Is he had this master race that he was trying to breed out everyone else in order to have a strong genetic, superior, Darwinistic.
He
race.
Was pro-choice.
He was pro-choice. Yeah, you got to get him out of there. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, this person's weak. We just need to get rid of him.
Actually, I'll take that back somewhat. He was pro-choice for everyone except for Germans.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty true. I mean, basically, one ideology murders people because of their ethnic background, and one ideology murders people because of their social background.
Right.
Okay, that's probably the main difference when you come down to it. Everything else is the same. You look at the 10 pillars of Marxism, all right there. You know what I'm saying? For both, right? Because they were heavily influenced by each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, just north of what in the Soviet Empire when Hitler was coming into was the Leninist Revolution. You know what I mean? Like, Lenin had already laid the foundation for how you take over a country and how you run it. You know what I mean? How you set up the secret police, like which became the SS and different things like that. I think that people like the common Democrat these days has no freaking clue what fascism is, what any of this stuff is. Because if you look up on Google, what is a Nazi, it'll tell you it's a far right, alt right, extreme. You know what I mean? Like fascist extremists. You know what I mean? Like, and you basically think that if you're just a common person trying to learn more, and you look at that dumbass statement on Google, you know what I mean? That it's like, oh yeah, that's the damn man. I didn't know that. Rand Paul was a Nazi. You know what I mean? Like, he's in the Republican Party. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's terrible.
There's literally no similarities between a conservative and anything to do with Marxism or socialism, fascism. The only thing that you could consider at all is the nationalistic side of things. Obviously, it's America all day first and foremost, right? From a nationalistic standpoint, right? Yeah. But that's obviously frowned upon nowadays because we're in a global village now, right? We're not in you know what I mean? This isn't G.I. Joe, bro. This is the United Nations Joe. You know what I mean? That's what this is all. But I think that's where that comes from, where, people that are super pro, you know what I mean, their country or they're a danger. You know what I'm saying? Look at what's going on in the EU. That's basically what the European Union was silencing people's nationalism. And then look at Great Britain. We out. Done. Like,
exit.
No, I'm not trying to be the same as Greece and all these other idiots, like, and stuff they're doing. Like, they want to do dumb stuff. I don't want to be involved in that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're Great Britain. We're going to do our own thing. You know what I mean? Like, we always have.
You got to put your country first. You have to.
Absolutely. But that obviously doesn't work for the people in power that want everything to be global control.
Right. That's just because they want everything.
Yes.
People in power will always abuse that power, and they will always want to control everything. Hitler wanted to control everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
I think what you see now...
Even his people's thoughts. He wanted to control those.
Oh, yeah. Well, people, they already do that now.
Yes.
I mean, they've mapped all the propaganda that was being implemented by Goebbels and all those guys back then, and even look at China and Russia and all the different Marxist countries, Vietnam, like every single one of them have basically experimented with or advanced propaganda in some way, shape, or form. Okay, state propaganda, the control, the means of communication, all this kind of stuff, and you're basically basically controlling people's minds is essentially what you're doing. If you look at our country right now, our media, commercials, movies, TV shows, even billboards and stuff like that, and ads. I mean, everything is geared to evoke a psychological response from, right? Everything is. I just graduated college with a human communication degree. There's a lot of psychology based in how you communicate with people. My wife's in business, and she has a minor in psychology because there's so much to do with modern day business with the what is the message you're trying to get across to the masses and different stuff. Well, you look at today. The reason why I think that we don't have a better political system right now is because the modern media literally implants shit in people's brain that's not real. You know what I mean? Or that's fabricated, or that's altered, or misconstrued in some way, shape, or form.
Anyone who goes against it, they
you're
their
done.
voice.
You're done. They need to find some way to get you, especially if you do have a voice.
Twitter, and YouTube, all in their pocket. Pull their voice anytime you go against it, your voice is pulled. And with that actually said, we're actually moving off of YouTube and gonna go strictly Vimeo. So our voice does get heard.
Yeah, because YouTube is not going to be a free platform for very much longer. I mean, it already isn't. They've already gotten rid of so many upstarts and people just trying to
add to that.
Have intellectual conversations. You know what I mean? That it's not has nothing to do with. For me, I don't really give a shit about Republicans or Democrats, to be honest with you. Either side. I've been involved on the Republican side when I got out of the military, and it was absolutely ridiculous. It was some of the dumbest shit I've seen going on. I mean, most people that run for office are out for themselves. I don't think we'll ever fix anything on the political side unless you take away how much money these idiots are making as senators, congressmen. There needs to be term limits. If there's not term limits and you do not need to be paid for the rest of your fucking life just because you were a fucking congressman.
You should not.
Or a senator or whatever the hell you were, you should not be collecting a fucking pension for getting elected for 4 years. Like you're a public servant. Get your ass back out there, get a job, and contribute to fucking society like everyone else. Start a business, do whatever the hell it is you're going to do.
Right.
You shouldn't be collecting a 6-figure salary for the rest of your life. And I think that at the end of the day, I realize that's elementary or whatever, but I think that right there is the root of what is wrong with everything. You can be in office for 30 fucking years, you know what I mean? Just doing absolutely fucking nothing, you know what I mean? Like you literally, like, I mean, shit, when Barack Obama was in senator, he voted present more than he did anything else.
Most of these people, I was about to say, most of them are just yes men. They're just yes men.
Yeah. Like, oh, what are we voting? We vote yes?
What Nancy Pelosi tell us? Okay.
Hey, we meeting at the soiree tonight where we all hang out, you know what I mean? Like, it's Republicans and Democrats, and we drink wine and talk about how stupid everybody is, that we control the pendulum. You know, it's swinging this way.
Hell, most of them are friends with each other.
Both of them are friends with each other. Yeah. I mean, you have very few of them that aren't, you know?
Right. Yeah, we have a couple good ones. Dan Crenshaw's one of them.
There's a couple of them, you know what I mean? But, like, I don't know. I don't trust any of them. I think as a just a common person in any country, like, you got to have a healthy fear of your politicians and stuff. I mean,
definitely.
You know, like even Trump. I love Trump mainly because he's doing what I wish I could do and get up and just talk shit to the media all day long. It just looks like so much fun.
He just fucking ridicules them. He blasts them
every time. Terrible people in the media, especially CNN and MSNBC, just the most evil people on the planet, I think, personally. They know exactly what they're doing and what, you know what I mean?
We've lost our media.
They are not useful idiots.
Yeah,
these guys are handpicked. you know, and work their ass off to be the lying scumbags in the positions that they're where they're at right now.
Yeah, they work for the government, not the American people.
Yeah, I mean, but it just goes right back to, like right now, you know, with the Democrat Party. I mean, say what you want about the Republican Party. I have a lot of different issues with specific politicians or different things that could happen in the Republican Party. But you look at the Democrat Party of the alternative, just from a blanketed viewpoint. I don't see how people don't understand that you're basically voting for this. Every aspect of what they're doing is some form of Marxism.
Yes.
You know, I don't know if people have just become, what do you call it? Like Marxism has been diluted in people's minds on the dangers of what it's capable of, and forgot that it's killed over 100 million people. I think the Black Book of Communism in Russia is like over 100 something million people have been killed. You know what I mean?
Right.
The famines and different things like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
people are just complacent and accepting those ideas now too. It's
weird. It's probably a mixture of, and in education too. Obviously, I mean,
it has a lot to do with education. I think
you're basically not taught any of this shit. I wasn't taught this shit in school.
No, I wasn't either.
And I didn't even understand what the hell Republicans and Democrats were when I was in the military.
Bro, we weren't even really taught what Nazis were. We were just taught Nazis are bad, Germany's bad.
Yeah,
that's here's why. But
you know, and in future episodes, I'd love to go into more on like David Barton and, you know, an actual real historian, you know, in the country. And a lot of I
have to research him. I don't even know who that is.
The original manuscripts and stuff that from George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, and from you know, founding fathers like Reverend James Caldwell and stuff that you've never even fucking heard of.
Yeah, we don't got all the American history. We don't have
like you know what I mean. There's like little facts so that we can go over. Like, for example, there 55 of the founding fathers were ordained ministers. They gave fucking sermons in Congress. You know what I'm saying? Like on the Senate floor, we're doing sermons. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many things. The separation of church and state, people got that all screwed up. There's so many aspects of our country that people don't fully comprehend, don't understand. And the only way that you're ever going to get this stuff is to read it from the people themselves, right?
Right.
The shit that we read in schools and stuff nowadays is an interpretation of an interpretation of an interpretation. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And you have no idea what the motivation was of that person who's making that interpretation. You know what I mean? You're really
what biases do they have? I mean, what do they want you to think?
Absolutely, 100%.
Where they're trying to get your mind to go.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
and I think that it's easy for Democrats in particular when it comes to like the history of our country, and it's easy for the politicians to poke holes or like Democrat advocates or activists, if you will, like in the media, because they're not fucking journalists, they're activists. When they get on there, the different pundits and stuff, and they're, oh, well, the founding fathers did this wrong, or they did this. They're people. They're human beings. You're always going to have mistakes. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have examples of people that made mistakes or did stupid shit or changed in the middle of their life and went from good to bad or bad to good. Or, I mean, that's fucking life. You know what I mean? We literally, as human beings, watch this every day. But when you're seeing it from that narrative and you're looking back, it's easy to just label people one way or the other. You know what I mean?
They try to... Dude, they literally try to, like, just, like, crush them. They're just like, oh, there were slave owners. Their thoughts were nothing.
Like straight character assassination. They disregard anything. These guys were bigots. They were this, and this.
Yes.
Right?
That is exactly what they do.
Part of the reason why you only hear about the same 5 founding fathers is because those were the ones that they could easily bring up the most shit. You can't do that with all of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, but
makes sense.
There is nobody that was perfect besides Jesus Christ. So there's not. You can play the game all day long, but the point is that in order to get a real feel for somebody, right? And this is what I try to explain to people. If you want to learn about the real history of the country, you need to read George Washington's books, right? His actual manuscripts, and there were his memoirs and different stuff. For John Adams and different. You need to read the stuff from themselves. Okay, it's the same thing. If I want to know Dan, right? I want to get to know you. I had two options. One, I could read your own fucking diaries journals that you wrote your whole fucking life, right?
Do not read what about any Democrat friends have said about me.
Or I can read what some dude thinks about you, basically, and what he says is your history, right? And base that on nothing, because I'm on fucking TV. I don't got to cite sources. I can just say sources say that Donald Trump is in league with aliens. What fucking sources? Who is the source? And now we're moving on. That we got that character assassination out of the way. You know what I'm saying? Like that's basically what happens.
Yep.
You know, there's what is your source? Who the fuck told you that this and this, or that, you know, George Washington was this or that? You know what I mean? Like you got that's the thing, is you got to be very careful about it.
I definitely agree. We'll have to read some more. We can get into some more of those discussions. I have to read some more because I haven't read none of those manuscripts, nothing like that. So I'll definitely have to read some of those.
I got a lot of stuff I can point you to that's fascinating, man. Once you get involved, once you open that door and you read, you know, I mean, just George Washington's like early life in general. I mean, we could have a whole damn episode on just that, on his when he was a surveyor, you know what I mean, and surveying in Ohio and stuff like that, and like the shit the French were doing with burying plates in Ohio to be like, oh look, these plates were here the whole time. That means we own this, right? Like, no, you fuckers buried the plates over here. Like, you walked over, buried them, and then went back like, oh, that's weird. You found these French plates. Must be our land. Like, there's crazy stuff like that that's really cool, like, to understand, like, the type of things that were going on back then during that time for, like, battle from France and Britain and us, you know what I mean? Like, becoming our own thing. So it's pretty cool stuff. And then it gives you a better idea, too, as well, throughout, like, the 1800s, and you look at, like, the Democrat-Republican Party. You know what I mean? You look at how basically they were one party, and then they basically destroyed all the other parties, like the Whig Party and the Federalist Party. You know what I mean? And that's weird. Now they're the only two that are left.
Nothing else.
Nothing
you
else.
Vote this way or that way.
You have two options.
Where do you align?
Two options.
So, to sum this up, out of everything we talked about, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook is a modern day Gestapo.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
I mean, they're not killing people, but they probably would if they could.
Give them enough time.
Right.
Give them enough time. Once they get into
guns right now.
Weaponry, once Google gets into defense weaponry and stuff, and it's like,
right.
Pretty scary.
That's pretty much it for today. We're gonna do more of these. We're actually going to watch documentaries and comment on those as well, just because that's going to be pretty cool, and we can break it down for you guys.
And I can teach people how you break down conspiracy theories. Yeah, it's true. It's not hard.
John's a lizard person.
Lizard. I'm a chameleon.
Fucking gray. All right, guys, that's it for this one.
All right, later.